Hello, good morning. This is Naz from NB Lessons. I'm here with some more SAT practice exam problems. So let's go ahead and get started. I have about 10 problems, which I'm going to go through. So the first problem is, my friends, 5x plus 10 is equal to 35. Typical linear algebra problem, easy problem. You have to find the value of x. You should be, after a lot of practice, you should be able to just do that in your head. Let me go ahead and solve that for you so that you have an idea. So let's go ahead and write this problem. 5x plus 10 is equal to 35. My aim over here is to find the value of x. So what I want to do is I want to isolate x, okay? So one way I can do it, I can say 5x, I can subtract 10 from both sides, so plus 10 minus 10. So whatever I do on the left-hand side of the equal to sign, I have to do the same thing on the right-hand side to maintain the balance in an equation, okay? So 35 minus 10. So then, as you know, this 10 and this 10 will cancel. Then you have 5x is equal to 25. Now the problem becomes really simple. You can do it in your head. Divide both sides by 5. X is going to be equal to 5. So then, my friends, the answer is 5. How's that? Let me go ahead and clear the board and we move on to the next problem. Okay. All right, let's go ahead and look at the next problem. The next problem is going to be a percentage problem. Okay, that should not be that hard. So let's go ahead and get started. So basically, what they're saying is that a store increases the price of a shirt from $40 to $50. What is the percent increase in the price? This problem is very simple. Just remember how I do it, and you'll always be able to solve these sort of problems. So what's the increase in price? The new price, it is $50, right? As you can see right here, clearly says price went up from $40 to $50. So then what's the increase in price in dollar amount? So 50 minus 40 is equal to 10. So the price increased by $10. The way you solve it, you divide the increase in price, which is $10, by the old price, $40. So that is equal to 0.25. If you want to find percentage on this, you multiply this by 100, and then you get answer is going to be 25%. Not a rocket science, easy problem. Just remember how I did it. Okay. So then this C is the answer. Let's go ahead and clear the board and move on to the next problem. All right. Hope you're enjoying it. I know I'm enjoying it when I teach. So let's go ahead and do the next problem. The next problem, my friend, is a geometry problem. So let's go ahead and solve that. So in geometry problems, they're saying the two angles are supplementary. One angle measures 65. What is the measure of the other angle? You should be able to do that right away in your head because, as you know, supplementary angles are always equal to 180 degrees, right? So then what you do is that you take 180 minus 65. Like I said, you should be able to do that right away in your head. So 180 minus 65 is 115. So then this is the answer. Let's go ahead and move on to the next one. Go ahead and clear the board. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. And the next problem is going to be a word problem. Okay, this is a very simple problem, so you should be able to do that in your head. So a car travels 180 miles in 3 hours at a constant speed. That's the keyword. How many miles does it travel in 5 hours at the same speed? So here's the thing. If we can find out how many miles the car travels in 1 hour, we can multiply that by 5 and we should be able to get the answer. So how do we find uh, how much car traveled in 1 hour? So what you do is that you divide 180 by 3, okay? So that's going to give you 60. So car travels 60 miles in 1 hour, right? So then if you want to find out how much did it travel in 3 hours, you multiply 3 by 60, and then you will get 180 miles. Sorry, 5 hours. They want to find out the 5 hours, not 3 hours. My apologies. So Then you have 5 multiplied by 60. That is going to be 300, my friends. So the answer is 300 miles, which is going to be D right here. Sorry, C right here. Okay. So let's go ahead and clear the board and move on to the next problem. All right. So the next problem is going to be, let's take a look at it. So my friends, the next problem is an algebra substitution problem. Y is equal to 3x minus 2 and x is equal to 4. Find the value of y. You should be able to do that in your head pretty quickly. So all we have to do is substitute the value of x right here, and you will get the answer. So let me go ahead and do that for you. So y is equal to 3 multiplied by 4, which is the value of x given, minus 2. Okay. So then y is equal to 3 times 4 is 12. 12 minus 2 is 10. So then the answer, my friend, is going to be 10, which is B right here. Let's go ahead and clear the board and we move on to the next problem. All right. So let's go ahead and move on to the next problem. So the next problem is going to be a statistics problem in which you have to find the median. Okay. All right. So the following 7 test scores are listed in order: 62, 71, 75, 80, 84, 90, and 95. They want you to find the median. Trick over here, my friends, is that right away you count the numbers in the list. How many numbers do I have in this list? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Then the median is going to be the number in the middle. Okay, so in this case, the number in the middle is 80. So then the answer is 80. Now let me ask you another question. What if it was even numbers? The list of number was even instead of odd numbers. So for example, you have 5, you have 10, okay, you have 20, okay, and then you have 4, okay. So how would you find median in this case? So median in this case is going to be basically what you do is that you take the two numbers in the middle, right? In this case, 10, you add them together, 10 plus 20, and then you divide that by 2. So answer in this case is median is 15. So my friends, basically the trick over here is to always count how many numbers in the list. If the number is odd, you pick the one in middle. If the numbers are even, you pick the 2 in the middle and divide it by 2, and you will get your median. Okay. So let's go ahead and clear the board, and then we move on to the next question. So let's go ahead and move on to the next question. All right. We just did the median problem. Let's see. Median problem. And then what we do is that we move on to consecutive integers. So consecutive integer basically means numbers right after each other. So basically what they're saying is that sum of consecutive integers is 72. What is the largest of 3 integers? So this is a medium difficulty level, but I'm sure, with lots of practice, you can ace it. So let's suppose the first number is n, okay? If the first number is n and the second number is consecutive, so second number would be then n plus 1. What would be the third number? The third number would be n plus 2, right? So they want you to find, find what is the largest of the 3 integers. So basically, they've given the sum is 72. So what you do is that you say n plus 1 plus n plus 2 is equal to 72. This makes the problem real easy. Now from here, you can easily solve 3n plus 2 is equal to 72, right? 70, because 72 minus 2 is 70. All right. Actually, this is 3 right here, sorry. 3n plus 3, because we have n plus 1 over here. So 3n plus 3 is equal to 7, 72. Then you find the value of 3n. 3n is equal to 72 minus 3. So n is equal to 69, 3n is equal to 69. You divide both sides by 3, you get n is equal to 23. But wait, that is not the answer because they want what is the largest of the three integers. The largest of the three integers is n plus 2. So then the largest number is going to be 23, which is right here, the value of n plus 2. So the answer is 25. So my friends, then this right here, 25 is the answer in this case, right? All right, so let's go ahead and circle this, and then we move on to the next section. Let me go ahead and clear the board. And we move on to the next section, next problem, which is a Pythagorean theorem problem, a geometry problem. What they're saying is a right angle triangle, a triangle which has 90 degrees in it, has legs length of 6 and 8. What is the length of the hypotenuse? It's a pretty straightforward problem. Let me see if I can draw a right angle triangle. It might not be perfect, but you get it, right? So this right here angle is 90 degrees. What they're saying is that length of one leg is 6, the length of the other leg is 8. They want you to find the length of hypotenuse. Let's say it is c. According to Pythagoras theorem, you have c square is equal to a square, in this case a is this, plus b square, and in this case b is this. So then what you got to do is you got to do c square is equal to 6 square plus 8 square, okay? So then c square is equal to 36 plus 64, which is 100. So now it makes it real easy. So c square is equal to 100. You take the under root of both sides, then c is equal to be 10. You're taking square root of both sides. So then the answer, my friend, in this case is going to be 10. So how's that? Let me go ahead and clear the board and we move on to the next section. All right, let's see, look at the next problem. Next problem is a line has an equation 4x minus 2y is equal to 8. Now, my friends, you remember the how do you find the slope? So the way you find slope is basically you have y is equal to mx plus b. You should remember that. Y is equal to mx plus b, okay? So they want you to find what is the y-intercept. B is going to be the y-intercept always in an equation of line. And m is your slope, which is basically rise over run, okay? So let's go ahead and see if we can take this equation and try to bring it in this format right here. So if we do that, I can say minus 2y from the equation right here is equal to 8, which is right here, and I bring the 4x on the right-hand side. So minus 4x, okay? Now, as you know, I've done this already over here. Now, basically, if you divide everything by 2, both sides by 2, you get minus y is equal to 4 minus 2x, okay? Or, and if you multiply both sides by negative sign, this will give you y is equal to 2x minus time minus plus 2x, and then plus 4 times minus, so this will make it minus 4. All right. So now, basically, the equation is pretty clear. As I told you, the equation of line is y is equal to mx plus b, where m is your slope, b is your y-intercept. I have this equation in the same format. So the y-intercept is going to be minus 4. So that is, my friends, your answer. So answer is A in this case. All right. Let's go ahead and clear the board and we move on to the next section. Clear the drawing and we move on to the next. Okay, the next problem is a chemist mixes 4 liters of 30% acid solution with 6 liters of 50% acid solution. What is the percent concentration of acid in the resulting mixture? Right away, you know the total solution is 4 liters plus 6 liters is equal to 10 liters. So now we go ahead and solve the problem. This is how you tackle it. So first thing is what we need to find is 30% of 4 liters. So 4 multiplied by, I would say 0.3, because 30 divided by 100 is 0.3. That is equal to 1.2 liters, okay, of acid. Now we got to find out 6%, 50% of 6 liters. So 6 times 0.5 is going to give me 3 liters of acid, okay? So we have already found that 1.2 plus 3. So basically the total acid in the solution is 1.2 plus 3, which is equal to 4.2 liters, right? Pretty straightforward right here. Okay. Now what we have to do is we know 4.2 liters is the acid in the total solution. Okay. So then in order to find the percentage, what you do is that you take 4.2, which is the concentration or the acid in 10 liters. So divided by 10, okay, my friends, then you get basically 0.42. Easy peasy. And then you multiply this by 100. So the answer is 42%. So in other words, in 10 liters of solution, you have 42% of acid. So how's that? So let me go ahead and circle this. And this is C is the answer. Let me go ahead and clear the board and we move on to the next problem. Hopefully you